Rick, can you tell us a little bit about your background and experience in the satellite industry?
Okay, well, thank you, Richard, for having me. Yeah, I've been involved in military communications for most of my career, about 30 years, starting with Watkins Johnson, doing some specialized receivers, moving to Cubic Corporation, doing a lot of specialized data links for the UAV community. I've been involved in SATCOM the last 5 years, was brought on to Hughes to help grow their role in the defense space.
What about the U.S. military and NATO continuing to move towards a one integrated IP-centric C4ISR platform for the Air Force, Navy, Marines, and to some extent the U.S. Army? What strategies and tactics will Hughes follow to capitalize on this new direction?
Well, I think IP-based networks are key. Unfortunately, there's still a lot of legacy equipment out there, even in some of the airborne ISR community that is not IP-based, so things will improve as we transition. Another area that we feel in particular that Hughes can help with is network management systems. We operate today the largest commercial managed network in the world, over 800,000 subscribers, and really have some experience in running large networks. And what we're finding with the military and NATO is we need to get away from some of these siloed approaches to network management and get a broader overarching view. That can be difficult in a large organization such as a DoD, but we've had some luck with smaller military organizations overseas.
Well, I really appreciate you giving us some additional insights. What about the U.S. and NATO? Are they kind of realizing the importance of global connectivity for battle space operations? What terminals and connectivity methodologies do you see emerging as very important enablers?
Well, satellite is key. It's one of those technologies that plays well both in the commercial and the military space. It's great for connecting people in remote locations over long distances, so the military has always been a large user. What we're trying to improve on, for example, is what we call in-route connectivity. Today you can get on Southwest Airlines and for $8 you can be connected by email and internet. We have a lot of senior leaders or special operators that when they're en route by air, they may not have connectivity. So we're trying to improve that. So we have a lot of focus right now in the airborne world, SATCOM into airplanes and SATCOM off of ISR assets.
Can military satellites be less expensive and still provide a level of awareness and reaction time? Another question is, how will this affect Hughes' business operations in the next 3 years?
Okay, well, as you probably know, the military, over the last 10 years in particular, has relied heavily on the commercial SATCOM industry for bandwidth. Almost 80% of their needs have been met by commercial satellite. What we're trying to do now is make sure that some of that connectivity is more protected in the case of jamming. So Hughes is involved with the Air Force on some studies of using commercial techniques, and going back to your bang for the buck comment, a more commercial approach that gets you maybe an 80 to 90% solution to some of these problems in order to save on the defense budget. But I think going forward you're going to see a continued reliance on commercial SATCOM. We have the WGS satellites up there. They'll go a long way, but bandwidth needs are increasing. So we need to figure better ways for the military and the commercial industry to work together to save money. Longer term leases, protected communications, approaches such as that.
Hughes launched the Jupiter, which is a Ka-band high throughput satellite in October 2012. Everybody's talking about it, so I thought we'd talk about it today. Can you tell us a little bit about it?
Yeah, Jupiter is a class of satellite that we call high throughput satellite. You're seeing a lot of people start to put those up. Hughes has been in Ka-band since 2008. We probably have more subscribers on Ka than just about anybody. Jupiter offers over 100 gigabits of capacity in a single satellite using Ka spot beams. Been phenomenally successful. We've pointed it primarily to our consumer marketplace in the U.S. We have now over 600,000 subscribers on Jupiter. We're adding at the rate of about 60,000 a month for gross ads. So it's a great asset for the consumer purpose. We are looking at Jupiter 2 now, which will cover other parts of the world. We're starting to apply it to government networks. We're looking at mobility on Jupiter going forward. So you're going to see this type of Ka band is a higher frequency, so by definition gives you more capacity. And I think you're going to see, in particular, the airborne ISR world start moving more and more to Ka band assets.
So when does it look like Jupiter 2 will actually be launched?
Jupiter 2 is set for launch in 2017 and is being built for us by SSL L'Oreal.
Okay, excellent. Yeah. It's an excellent company as well. I'm going to ask you a question about, can you tell us a little bit about the information battlefield? What's it going to look like in the future?
Well, I think the trend we're seeing is connectivity down to the individual soldier. I mean, right now, traditionally it might have been to a commander in a field or maybe a platoon, but as we go forward, you're talking about individual soldiers having iPhone-type devices or PDA-type devices with some sort of local connectivity on the battlefield, maybe a Wi-Fi type network, and then being brought back over satellite or other means over the longer distances. So pushing that communications down is the trend we see, and I think as we bring new people into the military that have grown up with that type of connectivity, we're going to need to make sure that they have it, on the battlefield, because that's the way they communicate nowadays.
Right. No, I appreciate that insight. What about the new VSAT hardware and software technologies that you see coming along? It's not a technology that's declining, that's for sure. To kind of allow, if you will, the warfighter to control the outcome of future conflicts with our adversaries.
Right. Our emphasis on VSAT, operating such a large network, is really efficiency of the network, bandwidth efficiency. If we can save on bandwidth, that goes right to our bottom line. And right now, the U.S. DoD really has a problem in terms of the way bandwidth is used and managed. So a couple things we're doing for our newer VSATs: improved modem technology that is just inherently more efficient, applying smarter network management techniques to it, and then possibly even going to a managed network approach, for the DoD, where the DoD would let commercial industry manage some portion of the network. Not everything, but we have what we call a VNO model, or virtual network operator model, where you as a communicator in the field would have a certain amount of control of your network, and then somebody like a Hughes doing a managed network would have more of an overarching control at the high end. So I think those are some of the trends you're going to see in the future.
Do you have any final comments? We're kind of winding down a little bit that you would like to kind of share with our viewers.
I think just that we need to figure out a way to use the bandwidth more effectively in the military, some of the points I just mentioned. Get away from some of the siloed networks to broader network management. I think there's a lot of opportunity in the airborne ISR area. That's a large user of bandwidth right now. If we can improve things by moving to Ka, by moving to more efficient modems, better managed networks, it'll help the military in saving cost and using the bandwidth they have. Because the throughput, even though there's been a drawdown, I think we're going to see throughput needs just continue to increase over time.